WTO DG Mr. Olubunmi-Ojo has given a verdict on the state of the nation, but has also cautioned the federal government on areas she thinks they need to pay attention to. The opposition party ADC and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election have scrutinized President Bola Tinubu's frequent foreign trips. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale here in Abuja. Tonight we're going to be having conversation around different aspects of policies relating to interior, immigration, visa, and prisons and fire service. We'll be having a conversation with the Minister of Interior tonight on the program. But before we get started, let's tell you what happened earlier today when the former finance minister and the director general of the World Trade Organization, Ms. Olubunmi-Ojo, visited President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. At our visit, she spoke her mind on the state of the economy and some of President Bola Tinubu's reforms. He also says the things that needs to be done to ensure that the average Nigerian feel the presence and the impact of government's policies. Take a listen to him.
We think that the president and his team, and we just exchanged with him, have worked hard to stabilize the economy. And you cannot really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction. What is needed next is growth. We now need to grow the economy, and we need to put in social safety nets so that people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms can also have some support to be able to weather the hardship. So that's the next step. How do we build social safety net to help Nigerians cushion the hardship they're feeling? And then how do we grow the economy so we can create more jobs and put more money in people's pockets? These are issues that we discussed with Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk about some kind of security. Tell you about what the Inspector General of Police is saying about issues of cybersecurity. And he said that he's stepping up his game to protect the country's digital space and in turn boost economic growth in the country. He made the assurance when he hosted the special assistant to the President of ICT Development and Digital Innovation, Tokone Peter Igwen, and top players in the Nigeria's fintech sector at the force headquarters in Abuja. The meeting brought together executives from PalmPay, OPay, and Trigger Health, who pledged to work hand in hand with the police in fighting cybercrime. At the heart of the discussion was the soon-to-be commissioned National Cybercrime Center in Bayelsa State, part of a broader plan to decentralize operation and strengthen the protection of financial institutions across the country. Mr. held the fintech industry's commitment to safeguarding both digital and economic frontiers, stressing that securing financial technology platform is crucial for protecting citizens, businesses, and the nation's stability. In a related development, the police chief welcomed a delegation of peace and security studies, a postgraduate alumni from Al-Hikma University, who praised his reforms in community policing. However, the IG was a first PhD graduate of that university. Let me allow you to listen to what the IG said to the fintech champions.
Your visit is unique. Your group is unique. I appreciate you. And I want to also thank you for acknowledging and appreciating what the Cybercrime Center has been able to do to help your business and promote your business. Thank you for acknowledging us and appreciating us. We are ready to partner with you. The Nigerian police will take advantage of your offer of partnership to modernize the Nigerian police. We want to replicate everything that we have in FCT in all the states of the Federation. Modern policing is technology-driven, so we are inclined to integrating technology in our operations.
I told you earlier, my guest tonight is the Minister of Interior, but before we get to talk, so gather all your questions, your thoughts about what you have seen that has changed in the last 2 years as far as that ministry is concerned. Are you able to get your passport? Maybe there's some change there. Visa policy, expatriate quota system, and a lot of what we've seen there have been changes in that sector. We'll be talking more about latest development. So stick around with me, everyone. Let's serve you with some of the political roundup stories.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has inaugurated a 44-man committee to oversee the party's zoning arrangements ahead of a national elective convention in November this year. The committee is being chaired by the governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Duejiri, who's expected to come up with a zoning formula for the party within the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the acting national chairman of the PDP is asking members of the committee to prioritize competence over loyalty in their decisions.
Loyalty is the lifeblood of our party. Without it, unity is impossible. Yet, loyalty alone is not enough. It must work hand in hand with competence.
To Niger State, where Governor Umaru Bago declared himself as the Director General of the 2027 campaign for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, announcing that Niger State will serve as the campaign headquarters for the re-election bid of the All Progressives Congress APC leader. Speaking at a special APC stakeholders interactive meeting held at the Government House in Minna, Bago stressed the importance of party unity, loyalty, and gratitude, warning members against actions that could undermine the APC-led government. As the August 30th Rivers local government election approaches, the Emeka Beke-led APC in Rivers State has issued a stern warning to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RCEC, not to deal with any other group on the party's behalf. Speaking to journalists in Port Harcourt, the party's publicity secretary, Darlington Umuju, revealed that they had written to RCEC informing them of a subsisting court judgment affirming Beke as the party's chairman, but the commission was still dealing with the Tony Okocha faction. He further confirmed that they've screened and shortlisted their own candidates for the upcoming election. Ahead of the 2026 governorship election in Osun State, an aspirant in the All Progressives Congress, Kunle Adegoke, has promised to make the state economically buoyant using a well-thought-out financial template to drive internally generated revenue without excessive dependence on federal allocations if voted as governor. Mr. Adegoke said this while addressing journalists at the APC State Secretariat in Osogbo. He expressed optimism that all candidates vying for the governorship position through the APC have what it takes to defeat the incumbent governor of the state. A civil society group under the aegis of the North Central Agenda has called on governors of the North Central Zone to stop the blame game and use the increased resources allocated to the states to address insecurity and increase economic development in the region. At a news conference in Abuja, leader of the group, Mrs. Ene Ogbole, called on the governors to justify the huge resources made available to them by the current administration and end the sufferings in the zone. The National Orientation Agency has announced plans to commence a 2-week civil engagement drive across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. The Director General of the agency, Mr. Lanre Isa Onilu, who announced the plans at a news conference in Abuja, explains that the campaign focuses on national reawakening and patriotism, with thematic areas such as government policies, flood mitigation, and national security awareness, amongst others.
Thank you so much. There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Well, the African Democratic Congress is taking aim at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over what it calls an excessive foreign travel culture, alleging that the president has been out of the country for nearly a quarter of his time in office. In a statement by his National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC claimed Tinubu has made his 40th international trip in just 26 months, clocking about 181 days abroad, a record that the party says is unmatched by any Nigerian or African leader in recent history. The opposition party argues that while insecurity is claiming dozens of lives daily, poverty is deepening and child malnutrition is on the rise, The president has visited more foreign countries than Nigerian states since assuming office. The ADC also questioned the economic value of the trips, describing them as wasteful and warning that the president's week-long absence from public view recently fueled damaging speculation about his health. It suggested that ambassadors could handle many of the foreign meetings, freeing the president to focus on urgent domestic priorities, echoing that criticisms of what they are saying is wrong, where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has accused President Tinubu of insensitivity to the hardship Nigerians face, saying constant foreign travel sends the wrong signal when the country is grappling with serious economic and security challenges. Let's get to our major focus for tonight. Nigeria's Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi-Ojo, is being in the spotlight in recent weeks as a number of pressing issues within his ministry domain now comes into national conversation, from tightening the country's visa policy to tackling a disturbing rise in jailbreaks. Immigration reforms remains on his agenda, with calls for a more efficient, transparent process that balances national security with Nigeria's need to attract investment and tourism. Don't forget his promise here on the program that the Nigerian government is working on putting cyber security eyes on the ground at our borders. How far have those gone? We talked about prison breaks in some states, which has raised concern about the state of correctional system in the Nigerian in the different states of the nation, the capacity of facilities, and the welfare of officers charged with keeping them secure. I'm being joined by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi-Ojo, who is live for us here in Abuja studio. Thanks so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sheon. Thank you for having me.
Always, you make promises on this program. This program seems to be the platform where you make the promises, and I like to challenge you on those promises. One of our conversations in the past has been how to secure Nigerian borders, and you said that a lot of effort are being made, some of which you cannot say on national television. We understand that the secret of securing this country cannot be, told on national television. But how far have we gone? How far have we covered in being able to remotely secure our vast borders?
Well, thank you very much, Sheon, and thanks once again for having me. The beautiful thing is that when we come on air and we speak on empirical facts, and we speak with facts and figures, and also we give you benchmarks so that whenever we come back, you can critically appraise what was said vis-a-vis what we've been able to achieve. The last time I was here, I told you that we're closing in on completing the first phase of the e-border solution, and I'm happy to tell you that that's been completed, that's been done. And I told you then that immediately we're done with that we'll start the phase 2, because what we have done now is like about, it's not the entire span, of our border. Our border is quite expansive. It's big. It's about 4,024 kilometers, square kilometers of our border space. So of course you don't expect, you can imagine the financial implication of securing all the entire over 4,000 kilometers of border space. So, but the first phase is done, and today I won't be able to go into details as I told you the other time, but I can tell you that that there's visible improvement in terms of our borders now. In fact, the response that the level of impact, that these solutions have had over the last couple of months can be felt by virtue of the improvement in the securities across our border space. So obviously, we're working on that, and I'm happy to inform you that the previous Federal Executive Council, meeting, we had an executive council meeting yesterday. So I think about 2 weeks ago, we had a federal executive council meeting. The phase 2 was actually approved, by the federal executive council, to be able to secure a larger space of our borders, and not just to limit it to the borders, but to make it, instead of just the e-border, it's now like internal security, because we have to look at our correctional service, correctional centers rather. We have to look at our critical asset protection with that's NSCDC. So the whole idea of the phase 2 is not to just zoom in on only NIS, the border space. We must give equal attention, to all other agencies. So this new approval that we've gotten now to be able to deploy the internal security solution is one that we hope to be able to start very soon.
Minister, one thing that I wish that could happen, and this is my wish anyways, but government knows how they do things, but I'm looking at, and it's going to lead me to the next question. I just imagine that we have custom, immigration, NSCDC, all in the same ministry. It's easier to protect the borders because you have customs, for example, domicile in the Ministry of Finance. I don't know what Customs is doing in the Ministry of Finance, but I imagine that Customs, Immigration are supposed to be working together under the same ministry. Well, this is my own thought about how you run your government, but where I'm going to exactly is we have 3 types of borders: the air borders, the sea border, and the land border. When you say phase 1, which of the protection, or which of the monitoring, because we're talking about we able to see remotely, staying in one room and being able to monitor our borders. Which of these are you talking about? Is sea border, the land border, or the air border?
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me say this very clearly. When it comes to our air border, I can say it emphatically and empirically proven. We have one of the best in the world. I can say that very clearly.
In what sense?
Air border.
In what sense?
Number one, your air borders, that's your airports and co. I tell you today, when this government came on board, there was nothing like the API, Advanced Passenger Information, was not available. That was API was a UN Security Council resolution. As far back as I think 2006. Nigeria never had it. And that happens to be the device that the immigration officers need, that they actually require to do pre-profiling of inbound. Yeah. Yes, that, okay, if somebody is coming, before he even comes to Nigeria, you can pre-profile the person. You have the whole record. You pre-profile, you can juxtapose, you can look around all security databases in the world, criminal record system, whatever, pattern of travel, etc. That's why when you get to like Heathrow or JFK in New York, when you get there, you see them say, oh, somebody gets there, they just say, okay, to this side or whatever. It's because they've done pre-profiling. They know who is coming. They've looked at you. They've analyzed you. So they don't do, what they do is objective profiling, not subjective. We never had that before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into power. But I'm happy to tell you today that Nigeria has a lighthouse project of Africa. That was how IATA described our command and control and our API solution as the lighthouse project of Africa. One of the best you get anywhere in the world. This government has been able to do that. That's number one. When you go to our airport today, you see our e-gates working. You understand? So what it means basically is that when a Nigerian comes in, you take your passport, but it detects, even if you're carrying a fake passport, the system will not read you. You won't be able to pass. You understand? And of course, that record, your biometric, everything goes into our database. So our data center in the command and control. So that's been done. And also, when you also look at the whole security architect, for example, with the PKI, the PKD, which determines the integrity of a travel document. That has been done by this administration. So what I'm trying to tell you basically is that when you look at requirements in Heathrow, in JFK, in Shanghai, any airport in the world, what you see is what you see in terms of our air border system in Nigeria. This government has been able to do that. We came, don't forget, I'm not sorry to say this. We came from a position where we never had the API, we never had the PKI, PKD for our passport, we never had the e-gate, we never had all these things 2 years ago.
Has the integrity of our passport increased?
Definitely. It was stated some couple of weeks ago. Yes, by even Henley's report, Nigeria moved for the first time, I think since 20-something.
Because it was in the past, Nigerian passport is one of the easiest to clone or to duplicate or to forge.
That is what I'm telling you, Shehu.
So things have changed now.
Things have changed because, one, one. And I tell you, you are up for a wonderful surprise from September, from the 1st of September, because part of the first things this government did, we took it to Federal Executive Council, and Mr. President graciously approved it in the Federal Executive Council. And what's that? There is no country in the world that you see that personalizes passport from multiple locations. No, that was what we inherited. With due respect. But today, you get to NIS headquarters in Soka, we have a multi-million-dollar personalization center built there, which has the capacity of being able to personalize about 14,000 passports per hour, not per day, per hour. So, and our full capacity as of today is less than 10,000 per day. So it means that even within 1 hour, we have that capacity. So what it means basically is that you personalize all passports. If you apply if you are an American passport, they don't print your passport in the embassy here. They print it in America. They send it to the because your passport is a security document. It's not just a means of identification. It's a security document, and it's a property.
Your Nigerian passports were being printed in Oluwole easily. That you can get it done.
All those features, all those things are gone because now we have a database, one of the biggest data centers in Nigeria. There in Soka, we have that already. I can tell you, passport. When we came on board, we had 2 passport regimes. We had 2 different passports in circulation. We had the A series and the B series, enhanced and non-enhanced passport. That was what we had before President Tinubu came on board. So it means that if you go to an airport, I'm sorry to keep mentioning Heathrow or whatever, but mention any other airport, and then 2 Nigerians are on the queue. 2 of them can be carrying 2 different types of passport. But today,
you have standardized it.
There is only 1 passport we issue now all over the world, and that is the enhanced passport. That's the B series. Everywhere else, we have been able to harmonize that. So
what does that do? What does that do for Nigeria?
It's the integrity of your travel document.
Does that protect the Nigerian person?
Definitely, it's the integrity of your document. That's number 1. Then your passport is supposed to be the same. You're supposed to have just 1 passport regime.
Minister, I put to task your colleague in the
aviation. And also, sorry, let me also say this clearly. Also, it was very difficult because Nigeria, when we came on board just 2 years ago, our passport was not linked, was not updated on the PKI-PKD, ICAO. One of the few countries in the world that couldn't meet
that requirement. Break it down for our viewers who don't know the PKI.
The PKI means public key infrastructure, and the PKD public key directory. The directory is where all passport certificate gets uploaded to for ICAO, that's the International Civil Aviation Authority, for global referencing and verification. Nigeria was not there. So it means that to test the integrity of your at various points of entry all over the world was a problem. But guess what? Last year, this government did that to the glory of God. And Nigeria today, our passports are on the PKD. We have been able to meet ICAO standard.
So I understand now that if you are entering Nigeria, you have an eagle eye screen here in Abuja at the Immigration Service Center, where you can, in fact, I understand from what I saw, I think Lagos has something like that. I saw that also in Enugu State, where it has an AI feature and it's intelligent. It can identify you, and on the large screen from every air border that you're coming into Nigeria, you are able to be cited. Lagos, Abuja, they can see you from one center and you can be monitored. Is that what goes on now?
That's why I told you. I don't want to go into details because of security implications. And we're live on TV.
But Nigerians need to know where their monies are being spent.
I tell you, all these things we did is based on partnership. Okay? It's Mr. President will always tell us whenever we're in fact, learn how to get water out of the dry well. You understand? I can tell you, you can go to the budget of Interior. It's not about budgeting. It's about project management and creative thinking. That's what strategic thinking. That's what Mr. President taught us. All right, and that's one thing we've tried to do in the Ministry of Interior. Some of these things we're talking about are things based on innovations. All right, because innovation drives the world. So what I was saying, ab initio, is that our air border space is tight. right?
So you can remotely see what goes on there.
I'm not giving you details, but of course, anything you can see, anything you can feel, mention the airport in the world.
So this is what. So the same thing because when we are taking on a tour of the NIS to see what was going on, we didn't see it happen because it was not activated then, but we were made to understand that is what's going to happen. But I wanted to find out if that is similar thing you're going to do to the land borders, where you can remotely see what goes on all our land borders. Is that what is going to happen?
Exactly, that's what we're doing. And we're trying to, so that we're because security all over the world has gone beyond detective. It's preventive, proactive security. So what we're trying to do is to have what we call eyes in the sky. Eyes in the sky, have an eagle look.
So you digitally monitor all our borders.
See, let me tell you something. The NIS of today, it's not the NIS we knew years ago. It's a new NIS. As I told you, number one, we had 2 passport regimes. This government has 1. 2, we had over 59 passport personalization centers in Nigeria and across the world. Over 59 today. By the grace of God, we've completed the building, we've equipped it, it's ready to go. And it's the biggest passport personalization center that we have in the African continent.
Minister, if you go on the immigration, because every time you're on the program, we talk more about immigration.
Take me to immigration.
But let me take you to what has become a worrying point for a lot of Nigeria. And the statistics that I have says Nigeria recorded over 7,000 inmate escapes from at least 17 jailbreaks from 2015 to 2023. And this recurring, and we've seen one. 2015 and 2023.
Over 7,000.
Over 7,000 inmate escapes.
All right.
And when we wonder, why do we keep seeing these jailbreaks happen? And a couple of these jailbreaks have happened since 2023 under this government. The minimum of 5. 7 of them have happened.
Under this government?
Under this government.
That's not true.
How many?
Mention them. You're asking me questions.
There's one in Kuje.
No, there was no jailbreak in Kuje. Check your facts.
No,
Get your facts right.
Minister, if you dispute my facts,
under this government.
What's your own fact?
Not under this government. You're asking questions, and I think you should be a bit more.
There was a prison break in Nasarawa.
Yes, one.
Okay. So talk to us about that.
You said 5.
What are you doing to make sure that our correctional centers?
That is the question you need to ask, Sheo. Because when you said like 5 or whatever, no. And 2, when you said 7,000, that was, with due respect, we understand as a government, we inherit assets, we inherit liabilities. But the simple truth is 2015 to 2023, not under this government. I can tell you where breaks had that particular administration. Number 1, break when in the middle of the night when the fence fell in Niger, that's Suleja. Mm-hmm. And of course, it was then we now realized that a lot of our record system, our biometric system was not really up to date. And immediately we worked on that, because the key issue is not just, yes, you're trying to make sure that people don't escape. But the second thing is that once they escape, you do everything to make sure you do what? You get them back. So aside that, we had the flood in Maiduguri. That was nobody's problem, because you know what happened to the dam. People died. I mean, there was disaster and everything. So the whole prisons, the whole correctional center in Maiduguri was over-flooded. And people, that wasn't the fault of government or the fault of Nigerian Correctional Service. The third one you can talk about, if I'm not wrong, I think is the one that happened about 2-3 days ago, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, we are investigating that. 16 people escaped. And as I speak to you, we have already, because we have digitalized the biometric system, we have linked up with all security agencies. So at least the security agencies are more equipped to react. And I tell you, out of the 16 that escaped, as at yesterday, we've already arrested 9. We've arrested 7, remaining 9. And I know we're still working, and hopefully within the next couple of days, we'll be able to get the remaining 9 back. Now, flashback to what we used to have. When people escape, it's like, okay, you even find it difficult to get them back. But now we're doing our best to make sure we secure our correctional center. And also let me tell you something very clearly, Sheung. You see, the state of our correctional centers, it's very easy, like what they say, when you're not the one doing the job is always so easy to you. Mr. President did not become president 100 years ago. We have over 246 correctional centers in Nigeria, if I'm not wrong. And of these 246 correctional centers, none was established under this particular administration, under this president. A lot of our correctional centers, I'll give you an example. The one in Ikoyi, I always like to talk about it. That was established, I think, in 1956. The one where we had the jailbreak in Suleja was established in 1914. All right? And there's so many other correctional centers that are 100 years old, some 70, 60. So some of these facilities are actually old. But when you look at what this particular government has been able to do in the last 2 years, it's not easy. It's not possible. Sorry, we have 246, not 242. 246 correctional centers. But when you look at what this government has been able to do in the last 2 years, with regards to even Port Harcourt prison, that was in a bad state. What this president has been able to do in Kuje, whereby today, some weeks ago, major surgeries were held in Kuje correctional centers. That is to even beyond the fencing, beyond the infrastructure, but even the medical facilities. And also don't forget that when this government also came on board, we had a scenario whereby in some state commands, we didn't have a single doctor for the correctional center. But who came? Mr. President came, approved the employment of 50 doctors, 100 nurses, and also approved that NYC doctors should also be posted to correctional centers to get. And since then, we had a situation whereby drugs was a problem, etc. But today, this particular administration has been able to provide drugs. Yes, we are not yet where we want to be.
How many of the 246 have you fixed?
Fixed how?
The correctional centers.
When you say fixed,
in terms of infrastructure,
one.
a lot of the walls, and one of the things that people criticize, the reason why these jailbreaks could happen is because the fortification of the perimeters of these centers.
I can tell you as we speak, about 12 correctional
centers
are going on as we speak in terms of
the
work.
Rehabilitation of
about 12. Yes, about 12.
The state governments under the review of the constitution now are able to handle correctional centers. How many of those have you been able to? Because we understand that it was under exclusive legislative list, but now correctional centers now are in some way under the state purview.
They're not that state purview. Don't get it wrong, Sheil. They are under concurrent list now. It means federal and
state have responsibility.
Yeah, myself and the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation were working on some of these discussions and to be able to take it up with some of our governors, because issue of correctional center is beyond, it's not just a federal responsibility now, it's a shared responsibility of both the federal and of course the state. And we believe that we can work out a synergy. States that want to have their own correctional centers, by law they're entitled to have it. So federal too, but we must also understand about 72% of our inmates are state offenders, and about 67% or so are awaiting trials, all right? So it means 2/3 are state offenders, but federal government is the one taking responsibility now. But the key issue for me is I don't like to buck paths. I don't like to shift blames. Like Mr. President, we always say we were elected to produce results, not to make excuses. So we're not here to make excuses. And but as a government, we will interface with our governors. We will come together to be able to have a shared strategy, towards solving this correctional problem. But I need to put it on record that this particular administration has done a lot in the last 2 years in terms of putting resources and trying to make sure that we fix our correctional centers.
All right. Give me a moment, Minister. We need to go on break, and when we come back, more to talk about. On the state of the Ministry of Interior, the mandate of the minister in carrying out not only security issues, but also ensuring the integrity of the nation based on the agencies under his watch. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. much, everyone, for staying with us. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi-Ojo, has been speaking with us on the program tonight. My facts, actually, I was wrong. I said 5 or 6. They were actually the jailbreaks that we've seen this year under this government. Koton-Karfi Medium Security Custodial Center in Kogi, 12 inmates. That's a match. Then Elisha Custodial Center in Oshun, 7 inmates. Medium Security Custodial Center in Kefi, 16 inmates. That's earlier this month. But I'm particularly interested to know how you want to go about it, because I heard that you decorated the new CG of Correctional Service today. Was it fire? Okay. There is a new correctional CG, right?
A couple of months ago.
Okay. And he said recently, a few days ago, that there's going to be voting. And they're planning that those who are in correctional service will be able to vote in 2027. They're working with INEC. How do you want to make that happen?
Sheil, I am not INEC. Sheil, this was, I think, a federal court or court of appeals judgment, that said the people in the correctional center should have voting right. So how they will vote, and we will provide, we'll work with INEC, but we don't conduct elections. So
no, I'm just wondering if that is going to be an innovation into the system.
No. I mean,
how do you hope to make that happen?
INEC is in charge of elections. We will work with INEC and be able to create an enabling environment once that's what INEC wants to do. We don't decide what we don't decide what they do. I mean, INEC is an independent body, under the law. So they have the powers to conduct elections, to organize elections. And it's our responsibility as security agencies to give them the support. And of course, in the correctional centers, create the enabling environment if INEC decides to go ahead with it.
Give us an idea of the technique in fortifying this correctional center. We see what happens.
No, a lot is going on. As I said, there's a lot I wouldn't want to talk about here, but let me just tell you this. A lot is going on because, as I said, we have 246 correctional centers. You cannot realistically expect, Mr. President, to fix 246 structures. 246 246 locations. In each location, you can have like about 10 structures within 2 years. That's not. So what we are doing, we're collaborating, and that's why you can see that when you compare this to what you said at the beginning of your show of over 7,000, you will see that a lot of progress has been made. Yes, we're not yet where we want to be, but we're not where we were, And how have we been able to do this to minimize this? It's, of course, I have to say a very big thank you to other security agencies. For example, the DSS. Massive support from the DSS. We want to appreciate the Nigerian military. Massive support from them. So there's a lot of proactiveness. There's a lot of intelligence work that goes into a lot of these things. Yeah. But I don't want to go into the details. But in lieu of the fact that, okay, yes, we still have some structural issues, which we didn't create, we inherited on a massive level. And I told you 12. We have 12 correctional centers presently undergoing serious work, all right? So we cannot finish the 246 in one day. We can't do it in 1 year, we can't do it in 2 years. But to be able to make up for that is for us to be proactive, is for us to run what we call intelligence-driven correctional center protection, which is in collaboration with other security agencies, and we're doing that in details. But the details of that is not what I will tell you.
So quickly, let me ask you about fire service, because that's one area that we really discuss when you come on the program. And in other parts of the world, you see that the work of the fire service is beyond quenching fire. They're sometimes used for emergency service. It's sometimes, several years ago, fire service, in terms of infrastructure, the capacity to be able to respond to emergency have been very messed up because infrastructure-wise, even equipment is not there. What have you done to change things in that service?
One, I'll tell you what we've done. I mean, fire trucks, etc., but that's not where I'm going to. The major thing is that as an agency of government, you can only be as efficient as your law allows you to. And we are Democrats, all right? And as Democrats, we understand the position of rule of law. When you look at the Fire Service Act today is Act of 1963, all right, outdated. The normal fire service anywhere in the world is in charge of emergency rescue service, all right? They are to perform rescue operations in emergency situations. And of course, even when the responsibility of fire service they are supposed to be operational, they are supposed to be regulatory, they're supposed to have regulatory powers, they're supposed to have what's it called, accreditation powers. But like if you want to build a house, emergency exit, fire plan, whatever, it's supposed to be part of your approval. But the law does not give them that power. So what we're doing, we're working very seriously with the National Assembly to make sure we repeal the former law and enact a new fire rescue service. And it's in the Senate, and I think the House has passed it. It's in the Senate. The Senate under Comrade Adams Oshiomhole is working very hard on that. And I hope that when they resume, they will be able to do that. And also, let me also tell you this. Everywhere you see fire service, you cannot divorce private sector participation from fire service operations. That's the truth. Because who is in charge of emergency medical services, EMS solutions, anywhere in the world? It's the fire service, all right? And you must bring private sector participation to this. But that is when the law allows you. So we believe that repealing and enacting a workable, a user-friendly, and a private sector-friendly and a regulatory-friendly act will go a long way in solving more than 80 to 90% of the fire service problems.
Minister, talk to us about these visa policies, which, you saw what the United States have done in terms, and some of these countries have said is reciprocity. And United States, it's a non-immigrant visa policy has changed. The UAE, we saw what has happened in that country. Why is Nigeria experiencing these kind of treatment from some of these countries?
Well, when you talk about reciprocity, that's not true because the U.S. came back, I think a week after the first statement, and they released another statement to say it's like the change of policy, not based on reciprocity.
Initial statement was
that's
saying,
what I
was
said.
on the basis
they
of
came back.
Yeah.
Please, let's understand this. I said they came back, all right? That means there's a rider to the original statement, okay? So they said it's based on their own whatever. But I'll leave that to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who I believe is doing a yeoman's job. And a lot of job is going on behind the scene. You know, there are back channel ways of resolving this. These are diplomatic issues that they are not to be resolved in front of camera. So a lot of work is going on in that regard. And I'm trusting that the necessary, the foreign affairs the ministry is on top, okay, of this. And the same applies to UAE. But the key issue for me is that we should focus on our own visa policy. I think that's what we have control over. And I want to actually appreciate the Mr. President, because when you look at it, we have one of the most friendly visa policies, in the world, which is investor-driven, which is it's tourism friendly. Like for instance, now we never had the e-visa solution before this government came on board, and I can tell you clearly, visa coming to Nigeria is no more a problem in terms of visa if you have your document, because with e-visa solution now, people get their visas in 48 hours. It's no more secret.
On the web and on the mobile?
No, yes, on the web and on the mobile.
Do you know the web address?
No, of course. That is, don't worry, I'm not gonna mess up on this job. Don't put me on. I tell you, it's e-visa. No, hold on. We're on top of our game, Shino. It's www.evisa.immigration.gov.ng. All right?
Our producers can bring it up so that Nigerians we can test whether or not it's working.
No, because Nigerians don't apply for visas, okay? Visas are for...
No, we just want to know whether the platform is up.
No, definitely it's working. It's up there. And I can tell you, since we came on board, since the platform went live about 2 months, going to about 3 months now, we've been able to deliver over 30,000 e-visas, about 92% success rate, which is huge in the world. That what it means is not about it's not that we had 8% failure rate. No, but like when people apply, 92% of the applicants have been able to be granted the visa. So the other ones, maybe you have fake. There's some people that will submit fake documents, fake reservations. And now we call hotels, we follow up to make sure that documents. So the key issue now is that anybody can come into Nigeria within 48 hours. So anybody that says, I want to come to Nigeria for holiday, for tourism, will not tell you, oh, I'm unable to come because of visa. No. That's not true.
All right, give me a moment.
So
again,
we
Minister.
have been able to do that.
Yeah, give me a moment. We need to go on another break, and when we come back, more on our closing moments with the Minister of Interior. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our concluding moment now with the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi-Ojo. And of course, my producer, if you can put up the e-visa platform on the immigration portal. So this is how it works. It's over 90% of success rate, 92% in the application, and that takes me to the SEPAC. The full meaning is that the Comprehensive Expatriate Residence Permit and Automated Cards, which basically allow foreigners to be able to be tracked and processed. There's a lot of criticism on that process.
I don't understand criticism.
You've not heard about what?
No, because that's the essence of the automation. And that's the essence of the end-to-end. I mean, migrating from analog to completely digital.
So you go online now. You
Yeah.
apply for.
No, then we've harmonized. You know, the foundation of SEPAC is the quota from the ministry. So before this government, there was a disconnect. You know, there was no synergy, all right, because it was manual at the level of the ministry has its own, they will share different database. But now we have a joint database.
So you don't have to know anybody, you don't have to work physically.
That is the essence of automation. Is to cut off that's why of course there will be a lot of people that will come and fight, because change is always difficult. People want to fight change, all right? But what we are saying is you should be able to get anything done without knowing anybody. Just go online, do your thing, upload your document, and let what you get be a product of who you are, be a product of your competence.
Do you know the website for the SEPAC?
Of course, Sheun. This is what I do every day of my life, all right?
What is the website?
Okay, www.sepac.immigration.gov.ng. That's for SEPAC, and for the temporary work permit is www.twp, that's temporary work permit.immigration.gov.ng.
Talk to us quickly about this application. There's been a lot of fraudulent people asking people to apply for NSCDC, immigration, fire service. And I understand that has closed already.
Yeah, definitely.
The application closed. How many applications did you get?
We got about 1.9 million.
For how many jobs?
Well, let's be grateful. We are grateful to Mr. President that we're recruiting 30,000 people across the 4 agencies. And this particular administration has created this job further to help our youth and to be able to secure our critical assets as well as our border, to put boots on ground to solve some of the skill shortages that we have. So we took the memo to Mr. President, he approved it, and today 30,000 of our youth, which is a massive achievement of this government, because we had a scenario where we have 4,024 kilometers of border, and how many immigration officers did we have? Just 27.
So that website, the application closed?
No, it's closed.
1.9 million Nigerians applied.
Yes, and
for 30,000 jobs.
And if you go to, what we did now is that we've been able to bring out in a bar chart form. Right. So state by state, the number of people per state, and when we finish the vetting, the screening, we'll also bring in a short list. It will be transparent for Nigeria. So we plead with Nigerians. Before I go, just 1 second. We plead with Nigerians, CSR for you as well. We plead with Nigerians that please do not pay anybody. Government, this is free. The recruitment is free. Anybody that asks for a dime, it's fake, it's fraudulent. Please report to any security agencies. Right. Mr. President has taken this decision to be able to create more opportunities for our youth to participate in government.
Your ministry will pay for the extra time. But thank you so much indeed, Minister, for coming on to the program.
Thank you, Sheil. Thank you for having me.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Sure, Kimale. God bless.